Is it possible to lose samadhi? And if so, how can you get it back? I had an experience of existing for almost a whole day without ego. I sincerely wanted my mind to disappear, and then a miracle happened. There was an experience of incredible bliss just from the very fact of existing. I had a really strong urge to go into the forest. The sexual images of the opposite gender made me want to spit. But the next day, I went right back to my usual selfish mindset.
There are two types of samadhi. The first is true, the second is fleeting. The fleeting one is quickly lost. It doesn't mean anything, according to Dattatreya in the Tripura Rahasya. You entered some kind of trance, an altered, even deep state, but it didn't last long because you hadn't practiced concentration or meditation beforehand. But somehow it happened. But then it went away, and you can't use it. You can't summon it. It doesn't last. It's useless, but you are left with some kind of experience. It can only be useful if it motivates you to truly start practicing. The second type of samadhi is real samadhi, which comes as a result of your practice. Samadhi doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It comes through practice. We don't use drugs, mushrooms, or ayahuasca. We're not talking about that here. I'm talking about yogic samadhi. It comes as a result of dharana, concentration, and dhyana, meditation, and only then samadhi. All of this is called samyama. If samadhi fades, it means your meditation has stopped. If your meditation stops, it means your concentration is weakening. And that's exactly how samadhi happens in Raja Yoga. You enter into concentration, become absorbed in meditation, and then samadhi begins. Then, as your meditation weakens, your absorption and concentration drop, and you come out of samadhi. And this happens many times. So how does it work in Kundalini Yoga? You practice asanas, pranayamas, mudras, and the energy rises, enters the central channel, awakens, cleanses the channels, moves higher, ascends to the Sahasrara, and once again you enter samadhi. But then your energy drops, decreases, it can no longer stay at that level, and you come out of it because the energy has changed. We are very vulnerable when it comes to energy, very dependent on food, on natural factors, the purity of our channels, and our interactions with other people. Energy can't be constant. It's always like this, with ups and downs. And all samadhis, Raja Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, they are easily destroyed. If you don't want to lose these types of samadhi, you have to become a hermit, a monk, a sannyasi, and live in such a way that you can enter these samadhis as often as possible and not come out of them, living in special conditions. Moreover, trying to enter samadhi while being a layperson, living in the world, can end badly. Let's say you do enter samadhi. What will your relatives say? What about your job, your family, your kids? In other words, to enter samadhi, you need to receive the proper status or blessing. Prepare yourself, let go of all attachments, and settle all your debts. You need to resolve your work situation. This is exactly the kind of samadhi we're talking about here. Raja Yoga, Kundalini Yoga Samadhi. Otherwise, your worldly life will come into serious conflict. In other words, this is the path of a hermit in the mountains or forests. It's not the path of a householder. You shouldn't try to imitate a hermit if you're a householder. You need to prepare yourself. You need to receive the status of a sannyasi to get the blessing that allows you to practice samadhi. On the other hand, there is a special type of samadhi called sahaja samadhi. This is a very valuable type of samadhi, which isn't as striking as Raja Yoga Samadhi or Kundalini Yoga Samadhi. However, it is constant, and ideally, it should never be lost. It's such a light state that you don't fall out of it whether you're standing, sitting, lying down, walking, working, eating, talking, getting dressed, taking a shower, or washing the dishes. However, to enter such samadhi, you truly have to become a master of contemplation. It doesn't come right away. You have to study it for many years and become a master at it. We're not talking about samadhi that can come spontaneously as a result of Shaktipat. But as I said, fleeting samadhi has no value. The question is about the kind of samadhi you can stay in, that you can continue. Because why is samadhi valuable? It brings about changes within us. And for it to bring about changes in us, we need to stay in it longer. Ideally, for your whole life to remain in such a state, either in samadhi or in a state close to samadhi. This is the art of contemplation, the art of jnana yoga, the art of laya yoga. Namaste.